Hi there. This is EmmaSara, and I'm live right now. I'm doing a Periscope, and I am doing Facebook. Hey Periscope, hey Facebook. I am a gluten-free chef, and I'm a lifestyle coach. My name is EmmaSara, and today we're going to be talking about living intentionally. You know, I'm a driven person, and I'm very passionate, and this allows me to be a very effective person. Who out there wants to be intentional? Hey Lisa. Lisa, do you want to be intentional? Vanessa, we're talking about being intentional. Hey Amy, just gonna let some people come in here. We're talking about being intentional, deliberate, purposeful, focused. You have a plan. I was putting together this scope, and it's on being intentional, and I was looking for a song, and I heard this song. Vanessa, you want to be intentional, then you are in the right spot. Hey Cheryl. Lisa wants to be intentional. Did you hear that? The song says, all things are working for my good. All things are working for your good, Vanessa. Intentional living. Hey Irene, did you know that all things are working for your good? This is about intentional living right now. So I just want to tell you guys that today marks 42 years I've been on this earth. Yes, it's my birthday, so thanks to everyone who's been giving me these shout outs out there. Are there any April birthdays out there? Vanessa, I think you have a girl out there that has a birthday. I got a surprise. I'm going to get to go to the Gage Hotel. My sweet mama and daddy gave me a gift, and I'm going to go to a Texas paradise, the Gage Hotel, for my birthday. So my husband got me a gift certificate, and my mom got me a gift certificate, so I'm super excited. Hey, Baruch. So the last 18 years, I've been living intentionally. Thank you, Irene. She said to have a blessed day. I appreciate that. And I am having a blessed day. Cheryl, it's been wonderful today. I have my family. I have my kids. I have so much to be grateful for. The last 18 years, as a matter of fact, I've been living intentionally, and I've actually been able to see the good fruit. The good fruit of living intentionally. Who doesn't want to see good fruit in their life? I know I do. So anybody out there, who else today is anybody else? Vanessa has Lena's birthday. Tell Lena I said happy birthday. We celebrated the other day, but tell her happy birthday for me. Hey Aunt Maria, we're talking about living intentionally today. Who knows what the opposite of living intentionally would be? Does anybody have any comment on that? What is the opposite of living intentionally? Okay, it's living unplanned. Okay, when you're not living intentionally, you're living unplanned or living accidentally. Okay, my husband on there, he's under one of my accounts, so it says my name, but it's actually my Compel guy. He says unfocused. So the opposite of intentional is unfocused. That's right. Well, I want to tell you, thank you, my Lisa. I want to tell you that one of the reasons, not living intentional. The opposite is being unintentional, okay? And that could be a huge disaster. And I'm intentional. Why do I live my life intentionally? I'm intentional because, like the song said, it says he's intentional, okay? He's intentional. What does that mean? God is intentional. Yahweh is intentional. He didn't do anything by accident. You know, I'm not here by an accident. All my wonderful children weren't given to me by an accident. Everything was planned. My destiny was written from beginning of time. And so he's a very intentional God and being. And he's my father. And so if my father is intentional, then I want to be an obedient daughter. And I want to look to him how I want to pattern my life. And so today's subject is going to be talking about 3 tips. Okay, there are many things we can talk about, many tips we could talk about living intentional. But today I want to talk about just 3. And excuse me, I'm going to take a quick drink here. The first thing I want to talk about is a tip is to be consistent. How many people know that being consistent is absolutely necessary to be intentional? It is so important. When you are not consistent, you know, just think about even when you're training an animal. Okay, if you're training an animal and you, like a dog, you know, peeing in the house, or if you're training a kid, okay, and you're not consistent, and they say, mommy, can I, and then you say, no, honey, you can't do that, and then a second they say, mommy, can I, and you say no, and then the third time they come back and they say, mommy, can I, and you say yes, that is not being consistent. And so if you want to live intentionally, you actually have to be very consistent with whatever it is that you decide that you're going to be. You have to continue to be that. And so that's a relational way of being consistent and intentional, but you can also be consistent with who you are, who God created you to be. We live in a world right now, and it's so hard for people to be genuine. It's so hard for people to be themselves. They're always looking at other people and judging themselves by other people. And so they feel this internal need to have to be like other people. And what happens is they might see a person they admire, okay, and it's not bad to look to somebody for a model, role model. Role models are important in life, but when you start thinking you have to be like that person, or you have to be like this person, what happens is that you have an inconsistent life, and you're not really blossoming into who Yahweh created you. He created you to be unique and to be personable. And so when you're consistent, even with your person, that means it's okay to have your own personal. Not only is it okay, but it should be something that you want to do, that you want to be original, that you want to be who you are when nobody is looking. You know, it's really important for me as a mother to be consistent, not just with training my children, which I am. I'm really consistent with training my kids. You guys have been around my kids. They're not perfect, and they're certainly not angels, but my kids are a joy to be around. I have 7 kids, and it's such a joy and a pleasure to be in a household with my kids. They're so sweet and they're so special. It's because I'm consistent with them. I don't allow them to manipulate me. I don't allow them to go. Daddy doesn't allow them. Daddy, okay, stop. We'll pause here. Husbands and wife must be consistent. If you want to have an intentional marriage, if you want to have an intentional household and be consistent, husband and wives have to be on the same page. And so you can have intentional desires, or you can, want to be intentional, but if you're not consistent, then intentional goes right down the drain, and then that's no longer even a foundation. And I'm a passionate person. I'm totally driven, and if I wasn't intentional, I'd probably be not as effective as I am with training my children. And so that is the first thing I want to say, is you need to be consistent to be intentional, and that would even go over into the workforce. So if you have a job, you need to be consistent in your workforce. Excuse me. And when you're in a workplace, people can tell when people are intentional. You can tell when somebody is focused. Those people are the people that are set apart, and they're the people that rise up to leadership, and they're the people that people say, hey, look, that guy, he's focused. He has a plan. Let's go ask that guy. I mean, I watch my husband in so many different jobs he's had kind of rise to the top of wherever he's at, because yes, my husband's saying yes, an iron wall of consistency. And so my husband, that's really good, hon. My husband and I form a very consistent wall. Like, this is a wall, and my kids cannot breach it with manipulation. They cannot breach it with, I'll just give you a quick little story. My son is 5 years old, and everybody hears me talk about my little Romeo, okay? He's just turned 6. He is so sweet. He's thoughtful, and he's a joy. But this week he was being a little bit over Romeo, and at first, excuse me, water again. At first I thought, wow, he's just being so sweet, and I was taking it all in. And then, like 2 days into it, he's like, Mommy, I have to give you this card. Mommy, I have to give you this card. And so I looked at it, and they're really neat little cute cards. And all of a sudden, a light bulb went off in my head, and I realized what he was doing. He had lost his Kindle. We don't allow them to do anything but educational things on their little computer Kindles or whatever those things are. And he had lost it for a week, and I realized that he was trying to butter me up so he could get his Kindle back. And I was like, son, are you giving me these cards because you're trying to butter me up and manipulate me? And he responds, like with mouth down, kind of, like, yeah, caught. And I looked at him and I just said, oh, hi, Shiloh. Hey, Crystal. I said, son, that is called manipulation. That is called manipulation. When you're trying to be nice to somebody so that you can get something in return, that is called manipulation, and that's not okay, and you're not going to be getting your Kindle back, and it's probably going to be longer now. And so today, that was a couple of days ago, it finally hit his heart. It went down. When we're consistent as parents, I had mentioned just a minute ago that that I've been consistent and I've been intentional for the past 18 years. And what's the special mark with the 18 years? That's how many years I've been walking with my Lord and my Savior. That's how long I've turned my life. I've turned my life around, and I've been focused. I've been focused on the prize. I've been focused on a heavenly prize. And when I made that decision, I was intent to do what it was that I can to be sold out for Him. And I'm an imperfect woman. I have a great family, and sometimes, excuse me, sometimes I don't feel like I deserve them. But the Lord has gifted me with them. And so, hey, Christy. So my Lord has gifted me with these great children, and I feel like it's my responsibility to be consistent with them and to do what I can to make them become, or help them become better people when they grow up, to be contributors. And so I want to be a consistent parent. And so anyway, I told my son, son, you're trying to manipulate me, and this is what it is. Today he comes with a repentant heart, and he looks at me, he says, Mama, and he kind of tugs on my shoulder, and I said, yeah. He said, I just want to tell you that I'm so sorry that I manipulated you about the Kindle. And, that touched my heart, because that's the fruit that I'm looking for. That's the fruit that touches my heart. And so that's number one, okay? The number one tip to living intentionally is to be consistent. Now, the second tip is to be focused, to have your, goggles, tuned in, know where you're looking. Look directly at a point and don't see anything around. Be focused. Don't be distracted. Life is so easy to get distracted by. I have to take alongside because, just my life in general. I'm a busy woman. I have 7 kids. There's 9 people in my household. At one time, I was running a full-service bakery. I'm a pastry chef. I'm consistently helping people with their health. It's my passion. I'm a lifestyle coach. I'm always helping people with relational issues. I'm just passing on these tools. And so I'm focused. I'm focused on the prize. And what is the prize? For me as a mother, it's raising kids. Yes, and tip 1 is living intentional. So when we are focused, we will stay on track, okay? Staying on track. Just think about that train. What would happen if that focus of that train derailed? Or when it has, they have derailed. When a train derails, there's catastrophe. It's terrible. And so when you start really thinking about these 3 areas of being absolutely pivotal to having good fruit in your relationships, in your household, and in your workplace, then you're going to be seeing great fruits. You need to remain focused. You need to be thinking. There's a lot of times that there's things as a woman, I'm a woman, I'm an individual, but I'm a mother. And some people live life as an individual more than a mother, or they live life more as an individual than a father. And so we have to live knowing that we have responsibility, and these kids are looking up to us, and my husband is trusting me, and we're a team. And so if I live as an individual, then I'm not really being focused on my great prize. My great prize is to have a family unit that is whole and complete, and that there's no broken areas in our circle in our family. And so being focused is extremely, extremely important. And Cheryl says that's something that she's working on, and that's great, and she said with God's help, and you know what, we do need God's help, because I fail every day. I told you guys that we're doing this 21-day challenge, and one of the things I put on there is to, for the spirit part, it's mind, body, and spirit. It's a 21-day challenge for mind, body, and spirit, and today we're talking about the spirit, or it can be spirit, but it's also the mind, because you have to be focused. That takes the mind, okay, and you have to be consistent, and you really need prayer to stay consistent, because we become lazy. Let's just be honest. Sometimes it's easier to turn the eye, or just say whatever, or okay, fine, you can have it. And so we need to think about mind, body, spirit. And so if we're putting in junk into our mouth, we're not being consistent, okay, we don't have a good prayer life, so that means we're not getting that extra support. Life can, get overwhelming, and your children are the fruit. And so, like I said, my kids are not perfect, but where my fruit is right now, even with all their imperfections, I'm really happy as a mother, and I feel loved by my kids. I had my daughter today. I wish I could hold up my foot to you. Don't worry, I'm not going to show you. I was going to show you. She gave me a pedicure today and did gel nails on me, and so I'm spoiled. I'm a spoiled mother, and I've sown into my children. I've been consistent to sow into them, because I've explained to them just this last week that there is a circle, and it's called the circle of reciprocity. It's the law of reciprocity, if you will. And that circle, goes round and round here. And when we do good, it kind of goes to the next person, and that person, and even if you look at the technical definition of the law of reciprocity, when you do something good to someone, there's something within their person, an inner drive that wants them to that wants to do good to either them or to pay it forward. And everybody loves that term, pay it forward, but it's really the law of reciprocity, and that's what that's all about. But what I've shared with my kids is that when you are selfish, okay, or you're a victim, that circle gets stopped. And it's a wonderful study too. I just came up with it this week while I was teaching the kids at breakfast time. So anyway, if you can, I'm so visual, I want to draw it out for you, but if you had a circle here and just say, so this person at the top here does something good for this person here. This person right here, if they have a pure heart and a good soul, as far as have good intentions, let's put it that way, they'll continue on. And if the next person has good intentions and goodwill, they'll feel that drive and they'll go on. And that law of reciprocity goes back, and good things happen, and the world looks like a wonderful place to live. But what happens is that we have people who are selfish, and so you go to that person who's selfish, you do a good thing, okay, and they are greedy, and they're just not so grateful, because greedy people are not necessarily grateful. And then they might continue on and do something good for somebody else, but because they're so selfish and so greedy, what will happen is that they will do it, but it's for self-gain. And so there's a pureness that's lost on that law of reciprocity. And I'll tell you right now, if somebody does something for you and you know that they're doing it because they want something in return, how does that make you feel? Is it how would it make you guys feel if and this is actually a question, please answer, is how would it make you feel if somebody came and did something really special for you, okay, my son, okay, here's a card, mama, and then said, hey, Lori, and then you find out that there was a total selfish motive involved in it, okay? It doesn't make you feel very good. It doesn't make you feel like taking that good that they did and passing it on. You want to cut that thing right in the root and think, that's terrible. I don't want to do that to anybody else, okay? So that's one way. Okay, this is all still in the area of focus. You have to be focused on doing things that are going to benefit others and out of a pure heart. And so that's also part of my intentional living, is that I do things out of a pure heart. I'm focused and I'm consistent to try to do things with the pure heart and with pure motives. And so you have this circle of reciprocity here. Yes, if people do it, that's exactly it, Cheryl, is that when people are selfish, it makes you feel disappointed, and it makes you feel used, right? I mean, you just feel like you've been used. And so anyway, the second thing is with that lost reciprocity. So let's forget about the selfish person now. Now it's going down, and it hits somebody who has a victim spirit. And so the victim spirit, we teach, I'll do a whole nother video about that, but we teach a lot about the victim spirit in our house. And when I say about victim spirit, I know some people are new here or not maybe in the faith, and I don't necessarily mean like a spirit boo-ha-ha. Like I mean as in internal spirit, like somebody who is operating with an internal issue, okay? And so let's see here. Shiloh says that they were trying to use me. Yeah, you'd feel like they're trying to use you. And Melissa says it's so important to examine our own motives. Yes, and so we talk about other people using us and feeling icky, but the truth is that there's sometimes we can do things ourselves out of selfishness or greed, and so it's so important to examine ourselves. And I can't say that there's not been times in my life that I haven't done that, but I've, in this last 18 years, I have made mistakes, but the number one thing is to repent, to turn, and don't do it anymore. And so the last thing I want to talk about is that victim spirit. When that good comes to them, what happens is they don't receive it properly, because a victim spirit, somebody who's working in a victim, is like, gimme, 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 I've been hurt, I deserve this and I deserve that, and they don't see like, oh, I'm so grateful, thank you for going out of your way for me. I was a director for a women's shelter for 2 years, and it was a women's and children's home, and it was for a mission, and I ran the whole entire program, and I was so, and Shiloh said that you wouldn't even trust them in the future, and that's exactly right. When you're not consistent, then people can't trust you. And that is actually one of the things I was going to mention, Shiloh, so thank you that you bring it up, is that people who live intentionally are people who are trustworthy. And so if you want to be a trustworthy person, you have to live intentionally. And so anyway, with that victim spirit, as if, bam, that good goes to the victim spirit, they're not going to continue on. Like I said, at the women's mission, I was so surprised when I would, buy clothes for the clients, and I would get them shoes, and I would go out of my way for them, a lot of times they wouldn't even wear it. They didn't even care. They just weren't appreciative. And a lot of times they would get mad and they would just throw it in the office, or they would just leave it like, here you go. Like, I didn't care about any of it. And so that would break up this law of good reciprocity. It would stop right at the victim spirit, because that victim spirit is not going to continue on the good role here of giving and in a positive way. They're just going to stop. And victim people are takers. They just want to take, and they're like a black hole, and it just doesn't ever satisfy. And so that is just important to be focused. And so number 3 is, well, there's actually, I should say 4. I might have to change my video thing, because number 4, it said 3 tips. I might do 4 really quick. Okay, is tip 3 is go ahead and set goals, okay? It's important if you're going to be intentional. An intentional person must set goals. You cannot be intentional and not set goals or plan. And I know there's a lot of people out there who do not like to plan, and you know, my husband was one of those people. He didn't own a planner. He didn't like to plan. It wasn't something, hey Brittany, it wasn't something that was normal for him. And one year I went out and I got us both planners, and it was so neat because I watched him in his workplace. It was out of his comfort zone, but he was willing to try. I was reading some books on planning, basically, and I told him what I learned. He got the book, he looked at it. I saw him literally go from this place in his workplace all the way very shortly, and I'm talking about weeks, months, and he just went to a place of leadership because he was intentional. He was able to set goals. He became known as the go-to guy who knew what was going on. A lot of times in the workplace, you know, I'm just going to do what I need to do. I'm not going to worry about anybody else. Well, he was keeping track of who was doing what and when they were doing it. And because he was intentional and this is where I'm going to add a 4th one in, and I'm going to change the title here because it's really important that I go over this 4th one. It's only going to take a second and we're wrapping up. Is number 4 is to be aware of your surroundings. And so that just ties right in with number 3, which is because he set goals, and the goal was to be more organized and to be intentional. And you could even make being intentional a goal right now, even if it's going to take a little work, and it will if you're not typically an intentional person. Number 4 is to be, yes, and Irene is saying victims drain us, and that's absolutely true. And Clinton says that relationships go the speed of trust, and it's so cute because I haven't talked to him about this video I was doing today, but I was actually looking at graphics for relationships go the speed of trust, and we'll do that on a whole nother talk as well. Relationships go the speed of trust. So set goals, be aware of your surroundings. Because he was in the, he's now compelled. he's now a compelled kind of guy. I forgot. The running joke is he's a compelled kind of guy. You know, he's that guy. So anyway, because he was setting goals, because he was aware of his surroundings, because he was seeing what this person was doing and this person, he was taking notes and he was writing it down in his planner. The boss said, this guy knows what's going on. He's keeping track of what's going on. He's being aware of his surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings. I teach this to my kids every single day. Being aware of your surroundings will keep you safe. Being aware of your surroundings is unselfish. When you're not aware of your surroundings, you go around bumping people, or you go around destroying their property, or you're not aware of situations. A lot of times that's selfishness, okay? When you're not aware of your surroundings, I just tell them, bottom line, being unaware of your surroundings is selfish because you're thinking of you, yourself, and you. And so the 4 tops, I scratched the number 3, and then I go to 4. The 4 tips to living intentional are to be consistent, to be focused, to set goals. Hey, Brandy. And the number 4 one is to be aware of your surroundings. Does anybody have any questions right now on this, or anything you can share with us? Because we are live, and I told my husband, they're so quiet on here. I do Periscope a lot, and in the past, or not a lot, I've done it this last month, and everybody wants to talk on Periscope normally. And so you guys are kind of quiet over here. So in the future, as I do these, please step out of your comfort zone. I thank you that you guys did talk to me today, and I appreciate all your comments, and I hope that you guys can continue to follow. Tomorrow is my birthday, and I'm going to go to the Gage Hotel, and I'm going to get treatments done. I'm going to go eat some food and have a good time. So tomorrow I had a video scheduled at 5, and so I'm not going to do a live video after all. One tip on how to be intentional. So let's see here. So good point number 4, be aware of your surroundings, Shiloh says. So she's at work, so she's kind of quiet right now, another one. So that's okay. We thank you that you're listening. Hey, Kathy. And so that's it for today. I just want you guys to know that I'm not going to be on tomorrow live, but I am going to post a video for you all. So make sure that you watch it. I'm going to maybe post it right before I leave, or I'll have my husband post it at 5. I think I'll have him post it at 5 because some people are used to me coming on at 5. And so just go to my page. It's going to be on, I will post it on, I'll post it on my homepage. So it's facebook.com/foodies with the cause. I'm going to be changing that name here shortly, but for right now it's facebook.com/ Foodies with the Cause. Foodies with the Cause. And tomorrow is going to be another relational talk, and so I really hope that you guys watch tomorrow's video so that you can learn some more relational tools. So thank you so much, Melissa, Cheryl, Kathy, Vanessa, my compelled kind of guy, Shiloh. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Tomorrow, I'm going to go have some fun, and tonight I'm celebrating my birthday. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Oh my goodness, I went on there and oh, my heart was so filled. I felt so loved. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all soon. How'd that go?